Welcome to biology classes. Children, we were studying chapter 1 reproduction in organisms, and in that I have told during sexual reproduction the events can be divided into three different steps or stages. They are the pre-fertilization events, that includes what? Gamete formation, that is gametogenesis, okay, and then a transfer of gametes, okay. And now the next process is fertilization. What do you mean by fertilization? The process of fusion of gametes, okay, and this is also known as syngamy, okay. So what is syngamy? The process of fertilization is known as syngamy, okay. And the product or the cell formed after the syngamy are known as zygote. So how can you define zygote? Zygote is the single cell formed by the fusion of the male and female gametes. Okay. Then fertilization syngamy occurs, okay, in most of the organism, and there are some organism in which without fertilization the female gamete, okay, they develop to form new organisms. That kind of, okay, reproduction where the female gamete or egg develops to form new organisms without fertilization is called parthenogenesis. Okay, so examples are there. Examples like honeybees we have seen in genetics chapter we have studied. Okay, then some rotifers, then some lizards, turkey, okay, birds like turkey. There what happened? The egg without fertilization they form into or they change into the offspring. Understood? So this kind of reproduction where the female gamete develop to form new organism without fertilization is called parthenogenesis. Okay, so if you know the hen's eggs and all the eggs will not get hatched, isn't it? Some of the eggs will get rotten, okay, that they will not develop into the chick. Why? Because that egg is not fertilized. Okay, so some species they are having the capacity to develop their unfertilized egg into the progeny, so that is known as parthenogenesis. Okay, then syngamy, where it occurs? Syngamy means fertilization, isn't it? So it can be outside the body, then it is known as external fertilization. Okay, outside, usually inside the body of the female, what fertilization or syngamy occurs. Okay, but there are certain organisms, okay, like algae, fishes, okay, then amphibians, etc. The syngamy occurs in external medium. Actually, they release their eggs into the water, okay, and then the males they release sperms, and there they will get fertilized. So this kind of fertilization is known as external fertilization, and they shows, okay, some synchrony between the sexes and the release they release a large number of gametes. Why? Because this syngamy of this kind of organism is a chance, isn't it? Sometimes it can happen or sometimes it will not. Understood? So this is the reason what they produce a number of gametes, and large number of offsprings are also produced, isn't it? So because why? There may be some predators. These predators may destroy their eggs or sperms, okay, or they can also destroy the young ones. So they produce a number of gametes, okay, they produce enormous number of gametes, and also they produce a large number of offsprings. Okay, so this can save some of them from the predators, and thereby they can survive to adulthood. Understood? Means the species can be saved. So only these organisms where external fertilization takes place, the number of offsprings are high. So in terrestrial organisms, the syngamy or fertilization mainly occurs inside the body of the females. Okay, like bryophytes. If we take the examples of plants, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, etc. Syngamy occurs where? Inside the body of the organisms, and even in reptiles, birds, mammals, etc. So this kind of fertilization is known as what? Internal fertilization. So here usually the egg is non-motile, okay, and very exceptions. Some exceptions are also there, like in lower algae and all. We have seen both the egg and the both the gametes are motile. But usually in this kind of organisms where internal fertilization is taking place, egg will be formed inside the body of the female and it will not be able to move, and male gametes are motile and they have to reach to the egg in order to get fused. Okay, so because of this you can see there is a significant reduction in the number of eggs produced because they need not to travel and all. But the sperms or male gametes produced will be very large. Okay, large number of plants will be male gametes will be produced. Okay, so in many of the lower forms, okay, you can see both male and female gametes are motile, but in other higher forms you can see the eggs are non-motile and the sperms are motile, and they fuse, means they have to move through the various medium to reach to the egg. Okay, in seed plants like angiosperms and gymnosperms, you can see the non-motile male gametes are carried to the female gamete by pollen tube. Okay, you remember pollen grains are what? The microspores. They reach the stigma, and from there what will happen? They grow through the pollen tube, and while doing so they produce what? Gametes. So the gametes are non-motile and they are carried to the female gamete by pollen tubes. Is it clear? So this is what? Fertilization. Understood? So what is fertilization and what are the events that takes place during the fertilization I told, and the different types. Okay, external and internal fertilization. Now we will have to study about the post-fertilization changes. Post-fertilization changes means what? The changes that occurs after the fertilization. So the formation of zygote will be a diploid cell, isn't it? And if it is by external fertilization, then the zygote will be formed outside the body, isn't it? In the external medium, like it can be water, isn't it? So usually water. And the organisms where you can find the internal fertilization, you can see the zygote will be formed inside the body of the females, isn't it? And the zygote, okay, the development of zygote, that will be depends on the type of life cycle, isn't it? And also the environment where they are developing. Okay, and you can see in organisms like fungi, algae, etc. Okay, zygote, I told, they may be forming a thick wall, resistant wall to prevent the desiccation. Okay, drying up to resist the drying up and damage. Okay, they form a very thick wall around it, and they undergo a period of rest. Understood? So that is one thing. Okay, in some organisms like algae and fungi, what happens? The zygote, they develop a thick wall around it, okay, to escape from the hardships of the surrounding. And another feature is what you have studied, haplontic life cycle, isn't it? Haplo, diplontic and diplontic. So what are all this? In haplontic life cycle, the haploid phase is dominant, isn't it? the haploid phase of the organism is dominant. Haploid means the the N condition, isn't it? Diploid means 2N. So only one set of chromosomes they will have, haploid, isn't it? So haplontic life cycle means what? If haploid organisms means haploid phase is dominant in the life cycle of an organism, like algae, okay, where what happened after the formation of zygote, they directly enter into meiosis. Understood? So that the diploid phase is very much reduced in them, and it is only represented by the zygote. After zygote formation, what happened? They undergo meiosis. So that what will be produced? Haploid spores, and this will germinate to form the new organism. Understood? So in their life cycle, what will be maintained? The haploid phase will be dominant, isn't it? So like this, all the organisms, they start their life from what? A single cell called zygote. From a single cell only all the other body parts are formed. So about zygote formation you understood now? Okay. Now next is what? Embryogenesis. So next is what? Embryogenesis. What is embryogenesis? The formation of embryo from the zygote. Okay, means embryo means all the organs are developed in this. Zygote means what? Only it's only a single cell. From that, the embryo, which is having almost all the features of the adult, is developed. That process is called what? Embryogenesis, isn't it? And embryogenesis occurs due to two major processes. What are they? Cell division and cell differentiation. What is cell division? You know, isn't it? By mitosis, the number of cells will get increased, isn't it? When you grow, the number of cells in your body is increasing, or you grow by two processes. Okay, or the embryogenesis happens by two processes. What are they? Cell division and cell differentiation. So during cell division, what is happening? The number of cells in the body is getting increased. And cell differentiation means what? Where the cells, okay, the newly formed cells, they undergo modifications to form certain tissues or organs. Understood? So these two processes are taking place during embryogenesis. Okay, the cell division, increase in the number of cells. Understood? The number of cells will get increased by cell division. And the next process is what? Cell differentiation means the newly formed cells, they differentiate. Okay, in our body there are different kinds of tissues, isn't it? Cardiac muscles, then what? Muscular tissues, nervous tissues. Likewise, different tissues are there and different organs, isn't it? The structure and the structure, not the function, okay, of cells in liver is different from kidney. So like this, which all tissues has to form kidney cells, which all cells has to form liver cells, all that is already written in the genes. So according to that, they get differentiate. That process is called what? Cell differentiation. Is it clear? So animals are classified into two groups, that is oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous means what? The egg laying organisms are known as what? Oviparous. Okay, egg, likewise you remember. Okay, oviparous means they are egg laying organisms. Okay, so if they get fertilized inside the body, or sometimes what happen in case of birds and all, what will happen? Internal fertilization occurs and then external development, isn't it? Fertilization is internal, and after that the fertilized egg will be laid and it will be hatched into new organism. Understood? But in some organisms like amphibians and all, fertilization takes place outside the body and development also will be outside the body. So in this kind of organisms, the eggs are covered by hard shells, okay, and they will be placed in safe places. isn't it? You can see the birds, they make nest, and then inside that they search for such places where they will get very less disturbance, isn't it? So likewise they will be laying the eggs in a safe place, and they have to undergo a period of incubation. The heat provided by the birds, they give what when the heat is provided, some enzymatic changes happens, and that help the egg to get developed. Okay, and viviparous animals, what happens to them? In this type of organisms, the zygote development is taking place inside the body of the female organisms. Okay, so when the zygote develop into the embryo, and after the embryo get matured, what will happen? They will deliver, isn't it? Deliver the young ones. This kind of organisms are known as viviparous. Okay, so viviparous organisms are those which give birth to their young ones. Understood? So here in this our oviparous, viviparous is selected by nature, isn't it? Why? Because the young ones are getting proper nourishment, isn't it? Embryonic air, and because of this only the survival of young ones will be much greater than oviparous organisms. Is it clear? So in this way, what the animals are classified into oviparous and viviparous. Now, if you take the case of plants, where the zygote is formed, it is formed inside the ovule. Okay, and after the fertilization, inside the flower, parts of flower, you remember, sepals, petals, isn't it? Andrecium and gynoecium. Andrecium consists of stamens, gynoecium ovary, style, and stigma, isn't it? So among this, the sepals, petals, stamens, okay, all this fall off after fertilization. Understood? And you can see that the zygote, okay, is formed where? Inside the ovule, isn't it? Ovule is having female gamete, and there only fertilization occurred, and there the zygote will be formed. Okay, and this zygote develops into the embryo, and the ovules develop into seeds. Is it clear? So if you take a mango seed, that is actually what? The ovule. Understood? In the flower, and inside the ovule, what you can see? The zygote, and that zygote develops into embryo. If you open a cashew nut into two, you can see a small what structure at the base of that. That is actually the embryo. Okay, and then the ovary develops into what? Fruit. Okay, and which is having a thick wall called the pericarp, and this protects the ovules. Okay, and the seeds will germinate under favorable conditions to produce new plants, isn't it? The seeds main function is what? To disperse, to get dispersed, and to increase the number of their own kind, isn't it? So likewise you can see the seeds are what? They are the units which help the plant to get multiplied, isn't it? The seeds, when they they get dispersed, they will germinate to form new plants. So you can see some of the diagrams here, and the pericarp, isn't it? They will be different in different types of seeds or fruits, isn't it? So like this you can see the pericarp is what? The wall that protects the fruit. Okay, so like this you can see the different seeds and the pericarp. Okay, this different in different fruits, how the seeds and the protective pericarp. Okay, we have studied the different types of pericarps in 11th class, isn't it? Fleshy, likewise dry, likewise we have studied, and on that basis the seeds were also classified. So children, in this chapter what we have mainly studied, just remember, Okay, read very thoroughly. This chapter is, means when you read, you will feel that it's very, very simple. But some of the examples, some of the terms you may miss. Okay, so thoroughly while reading. Okay, give full concentration and read so that you can write the answers easily from this chapter if you study. Okay, so we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.